Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into some absolutely stunning news coming out of Beijing. A political earthquake is shaking the very top of China's military, and we need to talk about what it all means.
So this is the official line from China's defense ministry: grave violations of discipline and the law. Sounds pretty serious, right? And it's aimed at one of the most powerful military figures in the entire country. But here's the thing: what does that phrase actually mean? And get this, the target is General Zhang Youxia. We're talking about President Xi Jinping's closest military ally. This isn't just some random general. This investigation goes right to the heart of the command structure, targeting a man who, honestly, most people thought was completely untouchable: Xi's right-hand man. Okay, so let's break this down. Why is this sending such massive shockwaves, not just through China, but across the entire global security community? This is way more than just an internal affair. You know, that phrase, grave violations of discipline and law, might sound a little vague on purpose. But for anyone who keeps an eye on Chinese politics, it's basically a code. It's a massive flashing sign that almost always points to one thing, and one thing only: a huge corruption investigation. But here's where it gets really wild. The unverified allegations, and I have to stress, these are just reports for now, are absolutely staggering. We're talking about stuff that goes way beyond just taking money. Things like leaking state secrets to the US and even accepting bribes from military promotions. I mean, that's explosive stuff. So to really get why this is such a monumental deal, you have to understand who this guy, General Zhang Youxia, actually is. What makes him so important? Well, just look at his resume. It's like a masterclass in political power in China. He's the vice chairman of the Central Military Commission. That's the absolute top of the military. He's a member of the Politburo, and his father was one of the founding Communist Party generals. I mean, he was so deep in, so trusted by Xi that he was kept in his job way past the mandatory retirement age. That tells you everything. And that Central Military Commission, the CMC, is so important because it's the supreme command. It controls the entire Chinese military. So as vice chairman, Zhang was literally the #2 military guy in the whole country. The only person above him, President Xi Jinping himself. And you know what else makes him unique? His career. He's not just a political general. He joined the army way back in 1968 and actually fought on the front lines in the border war with Vietnam. That makes him one of the only senior leaders left who has real, actual combat experience. That's a huge deal in that system. Okay, so let's zoom out a bit, because this investigation into General Zhang, well, it's not happening in a vacuum. It's actually the latest and maybe biggest move in what's looking more and more like a huge military purge by Xi. Ever since Xi Jinping came to power, his signature campaign has been this massive war on corruption. And lately, that focus has turned squarely on the military. This investigation is by far the highest profile case we've seen. It's fundamentally reshaping the People's Liberation Army right from the very top. And what's really striking is how fast this is all happening now. It really picked up steam in 2023, targeting the elite rocket force. You know, the guys who control China's entire nuclear arsenal. So yeah, a pretty significant target. After that, boom, 9 top generals expelled from the party. Then one CMC vice chair is removed. And now the other vice chair, Zhang, is under investigation. It's just accelerating and climbing higher and higher. And this number, this really just says it all. 2. The Central Military Commission used to have 7 members. Now it's been pretty much hollowed out. If you don't count Xi and the guy in charge of military discipline, there are only 2 people left. Just think about that. So the big question is, why does all this matter? What is the real-world impact of all this turmoil on China's military and, its ambitions on the world stage?
Well, there are basically 2 ways to look at this whole thing. The official story from Beijing is that this is a necessary fight against corruption, right? It's all about good governance and cleaning house. But a lot of people outside China see something else. They see a calculated political purge, a way for Xi to get rid of any potential rivals and make sure everyone in the military is 100% loyal to him and only him.
So what does this chaos at the top actually do to the military day-to-day? Well, on one hand, it could slow down buying new advanced weapons. But for the most part, daily operations are likely just going to carry on as normal. She is already moving second-line officers up to fill these empty spots, and the message seems pretty clear. The long-term goal of building a world-class military by 2049, that's not changing. The machine just keeps on rolling, even with a completely new set of drivers. And all of this leaves us with a really critical question for the future. As China reshapes its military leadership from the very top, with so much experience being pushed out and absolute loyalty being prized above everything else, what new challenges are waiting just around the corner for one of the most powerful military forces on the planet?